Hi everyone, here I'm going to give you a little introduction on practice for carbon flow diagrams and balance equations. I designed two tasks. One is to write carbon balance equations from carbon flow diagram. The other is to draw a carbon flow diagram based on carbon balance equations. Please refer to the book you used for training, the net carbon cycle modeling, practice 1 for more information. To write carbon balance equations, if you are not confident, please refer to our lecture in which we introduced this one-pool carbon model and the carbon balance equation. We then introduced a two-pool carbon model and its carbon balance equation. Following the same rules, we write one carbon balance equation at a time. We repeat this process multiple times to derive the carbon balance equations for multiple carbon pool model. So the first task is to write down carbon balance equation for this classic soil carbon model, the century model. The structure of the century model is fairly close to the Tycho model I've been talking about in the lectures. So basically, the plant residue that's the input into this system is separated into structure neat and metabolic neat based on the lignin and nitrogen contents. And the structure and metabolic neat is decomposed by microbes, which forms the substrate for different organic carbon pools. There are transfers among different carbon pools as indicated by those arrows. So I would like you to write down the carbon balance equation for each of the carbon pools. So here we have only 5 soil carbon pools. You could use symbols similar as I have done in the lecture, or you could also put the numbers or any information you can get from this figure. For example, some of the fractions or transfers here is right as a function of other factors. Note here there is no turnover rate here. There are numbers like 3 years, 0.5 years for each of those carbon pools. That's the turnover time. Not strictly speaking, you can think about the turnover time as the inverse of the turnover rate. So for this practice, you don't need the original paper to describe the model, but just in case some of you may be interested in this model, I also provide the Patron 1983 paper. And so the second task is to draw a carbon flow diagram based on a mathematical description of the RACE organic carbon model. Please read the model descriptions, starting from the governing equations and then the short explanations. This is a microbial organic carbon decomposition model. Try to draw a carbon flow diagram based on the equations, even though you may not really understand the science in the back of the model. And then compare your carbon flow diagram with the equations to help you to understand how the model works. Please forget about those CO2 respiration fluxes done temporarily. For students who finish the task quick, you can also think about what are the mathematical expressions of the transfer coefficients, decomposition rate, the fraction of carbon goes out as CO2, etc. If you make an analog to the first task. We do not require you guys to finish in a later part, but it might be a very good series for thought. Please check the book for practice 1 for instructions, and talk to your instructors if anything is not clear to you through the Slack channels. And also submit your answers to your instructors for feedbacks, also through the Slack.